Warriors Unite! Back with another episode of VIGOR Warriors 2 and the 1% Club. Hope you guys doing well. I move my seat back a little bit here. Hope you guys doing well. Hope you guys are on your purpose. Hope you guys are conquesting yourselves along on conquesting everything else around you. So welcome back, my friends. Another episode of VIGOR Warriors 2. We're going to cover a bunch of different things today. Let me do some shout outs first. And I'll kind of tell you what the next 10 items are we're going to cover. Let's see. Smokyquartz, thank you, my friend. I appreciate that. Jesse Watt, thank you. Michael Palmer, thank you. A new subscriber, Awaken Spirit, thank you, my friend. Jordan Elv, 3N, thank you. Corey, 417, thank you. Mr. Fredw, EB1, thank you, my friend. Voice to Skull, as usual, old-time friend. Sultanjob, an all-time friend, thank you. Yusef7, thank you as well. We'll stop right there. So we'll try to do probably 10 a day if we can. Every time we get on here, I'm going to try to do some more often recently here to try to kind of get more done. So some things we're going to do in the future. Today we're going to talk about getting sick on SR, one from Rene Garcia. We're going to talk about edging next time. In the practice of brahmacharya. We got non-ejaculatory interaction, sex after that point. Smoking and semen retention, the 40-day fast under semen retention, since we're getting close to Lent and things like that. The Cushing syndrome, Miles Jovi asked me about that one. We'll talk about that one. What happens to organs if you don't do SR? We'll talk about that one a little bit. Wet dreams, Knowledge Harvester had one on that. And keeping calm, wisdom over money. They had another comment about that one. So we'll kind of do a bunch of those. We have a bunch of on the future type of thing to do as well. All right, friends. So back with another one. So we're talking about, again, the whole idea of semen retention. And we're talking about the idea of getting sick. Now, I think, like in a lot of things we talk about, the way the world seems is not actually the way I've experienced the world, especially over the last, I would say, 5, 7, 8 years of my life. And I'm 63, going on 64 in June. And I've seen a lot of different things over the years. And I'll tell you that I thought a lot of things were one way, and they're actually not that way at all. One of those things, obviously, was semen retention. I think a lot of times I felt like, well, you need to go ahead and release all the time, and that was the best thing for your health and those type of things. And of course, those things can help in certain ways, right? Like, keeping your blood pressure down, exercise. There's a lot of good things in some of that. But over a period of time, I have found that actually drained me to the point where, and I said this 47 years, I struggled with having a lot of confidence, I had a lot of anxiety, a lot of issues going on, and I had some success, but not the way that I felt that I should have. And I was only kind of hurting myself, but I didn't realize the truth of the matter is, like anything else, I was not taking care of my health. And I played football when I was in high school and college, and so I had a lot of injuries. And the late 30s is when I found the Fountain of Youth by Kendler, which is kind of the basis of a lot of the stuff that I talk about here. And that focuses really on exercising and the chakras, but also focusing on semen retention and transmuting all that energy inside so that you're able to use that in a more productive way than just going out and chasing women around, things like that. So when we talk about this whole idea, we're talking more about the idea of being healthy. And again, the world would have you seeing that you should be on medicine all the time. The first time you get a sniffle, the first time you get a cold, things like that, you should be taking medicine. And so what we've had is a whole society that's becoming dependent on medicine. And of course, that makes the medical field very lucrative. And we know that there's been lots of money that they've done over the years with making money with all kinds of stuff, dealing with medicine and dealing with, different types of pills. And it could be some vitamins, could be positive things as well. But for the most part, every time you go to a doctor, you're given some kind of medication. There's always going to be side effects to that medication. So as time has gone on, most people have become very dependent on the idea of the health industry, the doctors, the hospitals taking care of us. And so as time goes on, we have not taken care of ourselves. in my opinion. We've kind of let other people take care of us. Now, I believe that the body has a holistic nature to repair most of the things that we have in our body. Now, I'm not necessarily talking about broken bones, though it's interesting how a broken bone can heal and become stronger at the point of the broken bone than before. So I think that's always fascinating. But the idea is that we are really kind of looking at trying to heal ourselves. And I think we can do that in many ways. I, for instance, ever since I've been on the Kemmler's Fountain of Youth, 1998, I don't remember the times, but I think I've only missed 1 or 2 days of work, and now you're talking about this is over 27 years. And I think I've only been 1 day that I actually was out and that I had to go home because I got caught something. But a lot of times it happened when I was stressed out and I caught those type of things, and I wasn't practicing semen retention. I was kind of going off and on, that type of thing like that. So ever since I've had semen retention, and every time I've actually committed to it, especially monk mode, and this has been over 1,700 days now you're talking about that I have not been sick at all. And this is including all the time with the pandemic and all the things that people telling you about, you need to take the vaccines, and I didn't take the vaccine. So a lot of those things, people are saying, well, you're going to get sick. A lot of people are going to get sick. And once again, I felt like I didn't need to do that. I take vitamin D, I'll take zinc, but that's about all I'll take. And everything else is more of a case of trying to get exercise, trying to eat the right foods, and trying to do the best you can to kind of stay in the best shape you can. So getting back to what we're talking about here, the idea is that you really should not get all that sick when you're under semen retention. And why is that the case? Well, remember, the whole purpose behind retention is to keep all your nutrients within yourself. And we've talked before, and I think maybe if you want me to go back over benefits again of semen retention, and that's keeping all the vitamins, that's keeping all the proteins, that's keeping all the things within your system that makes you strong. And those type of things can really be beneficial in fighting off any kind of stress and diseases. And this is really a high correlation between the stress that you have and how sick you get, because that stress kind of knocks your system down and allows other diseases to take over, and all of a sudden now you become sick. But if you can fight that disease, and a lot of times you're fighting that by keeping all the nutrients within yourself, then you got a better chance of not getting sick. It is amazing to me how many people, once they start doing a lot of these things, they become a lot better and they become a lot more healthier when they practice retention. I've seen it many, many times. And I think you become a stronger, especially in the case of men, a stronger, masculine, high-value male, because you're holding on to those things that God gave you. And I think God gave it to you for a reason. I think certainly when it comes to procreation, if you can create a child, you can certainly use all those nutrients to keep yourself healthy and fight off a lot of those diseases and things that you might get. For instance, I think in a lot of cases that, when you look at some of the research, you'll see that, every one of us has a lot of the cancer cells within us. But who gets cancer and who doesn't is a really good question. I don't know the total answer with that, but I probably will guess that at least some of those people, had a poor lifestyle, and probably a lot of those people were releasing all the time too. Now, part of it is this matrix, guys. We're talking about the fact, and this is why it's so hard for people to believe, especially those people who believe certain things in our society, and they're finding out that a lot of those people are wrong because they listen to the wrong people. There's been propaganda all through the last, 100 of years, about the way the world should be, whether it's economic propaganda, whether it's political propaganda, whether it's health propaganda. And obviously, one of the things is, in my opinion, is that I think there was people that wanted to make a profit on the health industry. Smoking was a good example of that as well. Even though they know how dangerous smoking is still being produced. You may have to pay some money for it, but people can get cigarettes still. They can obviously, now we know that, having intercourse is not a great thing for you to have all the time, even though people will deny that. They think it's great. You have people who are sleeping with 1,000 people, I saw something like that on YouTube, and it just amazes me. Those people are lost. They become soulless. And the same thing with overeating. All these type of things are things that go back to the fact that you can't control yourself, and this self-control is what bothers and hurts you the most, because you can't control your own nature. So when we talk about this, we're talking about the fact that you have to be able to take care of yourself. And you do that, obviously, by starting by the self-control. If you don't really choose to release, and you're choosing to try to use that energy in achieving goals, working out, learning as much as you can, setting goals in your life, setting goals in your business, spiritual, intellectually, all those things, all of a sudden you become a very more positive person and a high value person. At the same time, you're doing those things that are going to keep you more healthier. I take a cold shower in the morning. I believe it's a great thing for fighting a lot of these things and get yourself wake up and moving your body around. I think it's a great thing to do that. That's just my preference, but I like doing that. I think fasting every so often also kind of clears the system out of all those toxins and things that are in there. I think obviously working out is a great thing. I do 20,000 steps. I try 2 a day. So I'm trying to keep that weight off that I lost a couple of years ago. And so at 63, almost 64, I feel like I'm 25 years old. And a lot of it's because of the retention and keeping all that energy. I feel very, very powerful. I feel strong. I feel energetic. And at this age, I think I've not felt as strong in, I don't know, maybe a few times over the years, but not very rarely that I've felt this way. And I think a lot of it is because I'm learning as I get older to keep that. Now, we had one comment talking about the fact that as you get older, of course, you're supposed to be able to handle this better because your testosterone is not created. You don't have as much testosterone. But remember that if you have a person who's releasing and they're 40, 30, 40, 50 years old, and you got a person who stops in their 50s and they start saving their energy, well, they're going to be just as strong and powerful as the people in their 20s and 30s who lose all their energy. So this is why you have to make sure that no matter what the age is not what matters. It's the matter is, are you keeping your energy? Are you using it only to procreate? And I know you guys have asked a few questions about procreation and celibacy and things like that. So we'll get back to that. I think we'll talk more about celibacy when we talk about brahmacharya. But the whole idea, guys, is that you're supposed to be able to keep in your energy. I mean, you can have intercourse even with not releasing. But a lot of people are on a misnomer because we've been taught this, we've been brainwashed this, that you have to release. And releasing is what giving your vital energy up, and you don't want to do that. And that's why it's important to keep those type of things inside of you. Now, that's something that goes directly against what the world is telling you. And so I'm telling you not to listen to the world. And we are not of the world, We're a spiritual world. And we know from a spiritual standpoint that energy is within us. We know that. We can see when a person passes away, something is leaving their body. And it's not the cadaver that's sitting there is no longer them. They have a body. But they all have a soul. You can call it a soul, you can call it energy, depending on your religion, depending how you feel about it. There's something after that goes on. And I think it's important to recognize that there is something like that. So that means that we're not just physical flesh. There's a lot more to us than the flesh. And if we know that, then we know that all these things we talk about have some level of truth in them. And that's why we also know that listening to the mainstream media, listening to all these people talking about, what you must be releasing all the time, you must be going and partying all the time, you must be going and gambling all the time, you must be going out overeating or drugs and all this kind of stuff and having sex every night is going to destroy you faster than anything else. And I could tell you that, I feel in better shape now than a lot of friends that I knew back, when them in 20s or in 20s and 30s, because they just drain themselves out. And you got to keep your energy to keep yourself very vital. That's why I call ourselves vigor warriors, because we have that vigor. No matter if you're 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, the vigor is this energy level that supersedes everything else. And when you have that energy level, you feel it. Those of you on longer streaks, and we will talk about those as we go along, but you know what I'm talking about. It's an immense type of power you have. You feel like you can do anything. And I don't care how old you are. Age is irrelevant when it comes to the energy. Now, I wish I would have been doing this many years ago. I had 47 years of this that I kind of, in my mind, kind of threw away because I didn't understand this. And we don't teach this. And I don't think some people in this society want to know this stuff because they don't want men to be men again. They want men to be women half the time and be, sissies and, beta males and all kinds of stuff like that. They want really strong males. They're afraid of those males. And women want to be males and they just can't be males no matter how much they try to be males. So you have really a dysfunctional type society. Now, I think it's starting to change again. I think men are beginning to realize what they got to do. Part of this 1%, we're going to start moving up to 2%. And a lot of people are going to continue to work on becoming that strong male because we're the ones that need to be the leaders. We're the ones that need to be the ones that are protectors, providers. There's no reason why women can't work and do those things. I mean, they can do those things in many fields just as well as men can. But that's not the point. The point is, in my opinion, women's role should be in trying to nurture and help the family and grow the family. And males need to go out and provide and protect. And I think if we go back to the society that I believe we're going to go back to, you're going to focus on, those type of things where the male can do that. And you're going to go back to some old times. And sometimes it is good to go back to the old times. And I think this is one of them. But again, being sick, guys, is really not just a physical state. It's a mental state. And I think once you realize how powerful you are with keeping your energy and you feel that, you have no reason to go back and release things, and you won't find yourself being sick. You won't find yourself at a point where you feel like you have no energy, that you feel like you can't do anything, because you're very powerful and you continue to hold your energy and transmute it. You'll see the benefits. So, all right. So anyway, thank you, Rene Garcia, for your great comment and positive thing. I think I'm catching up now with shout outs. So hopefully we'll keep doing better with that. Also, I'm going to see if I can try to get organized more. I got to get a computer this spring. I also have to work on some more streaming stuff, and hopefully we'll be able to kind of expand what we're doing a little bit. I'd like to put more time into this. I know I really haven't done a lot of time on it, but I'd like to kind of do it because this information is important and you guys like this. So, all right, next one's going to be Can Edging Be Good? Capital F, I think, had this one, or John Doe as well. We'll talk about that next time. So until next time, guys, two things I always leave you with. One, every day is a new day to a great warrior. Each one of you guys is great warriors. Never forget that. And number two, guys, never forget, we're always in a battle. We continue battling evil one. And so I always call out with the clarion call, we need to battle on! Take care, my friend. God bless you guys.